What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Unfair Sports. It's your boy Jay. Wait, nope, that's his line. It's Jay's not here today. It's me, it's Coop, and I got KChris with Horns Down Podcast joining here with me tonight. And so, man, we just want to have our conversation because this game, man, there's I think even the Hopium crowd is struggling to find their next hit of Hopium. So let's dive in it tonight and talk a little bit about this. Jay is out on a little work trip again, so his comments of he's home and he's hanging out. Apparently, that wasn't true. So let's hop in. Jay is not going to be joining us, but you know what? My KChris man is with me here. Chris, how are you feeling right now, man?
Man, I am. I'm not defeated. I'm not defeated. I'm not. There's a lot of things that play into it, man. I think I'm more confused than anything as far as why did this experiment not work. Did some videos about it, and I'll be the first one to tell you I'm eating dirt. I'm eating crow right now. I was on record as saying I think that Seth Luttrell is going to be amazing, and it just did not happen. Injuries, play calling, scheme, all types of things just really played into it. Way I'm feeling right now is that, hey, we got 5 games left to be bowl eligible, and to kind of figure out what we want to do. And at this point, I guess where I'm at, Coop, mentally, I'm focused on our younger guys, the Jaden Jacksons, the David Stones, the Zion Kearneys, the Carions, the Zion Raggins, guys like that. Now maybe Jacob Jordan, right? I'm focused on those guys because I want those guys to continue getting these valuable reps. Because when is the last time that you've seen? Because we thought we were going to see that this year, but when's the last time you've seen that wide receiver room where they could just be so deep, just to have just a rotation of guys that you're just like, hey, any of these guys can go make plays, right? So I'm just focused on the reps, the actual game reps that a lot of these freshmen are getting. Eli Bowen, guys like that you're going to be counting on those guys heavily next year. So my mind is kind of shifted. Not necessarily worried about no SEC championship, any making any remarkable bowl, whatever the case may be. I just want to be bowl eligible, salvage the season, and just be able to play winning football. That's just kind of where I'm at. Trying to be as close to optimistic as possible.
I mean, listen, when you got one of these problems, it's hard to overcome. It's hard to overcome the offensive line, which we thought that was going to be the big issue coming into this year. Was is this offensive line, this patchwork offensive line, is it going to be, can you scheme around it? Then Jaden goes down in the fall camp, and immediately you're just kind of wondering, like, well, I mean, we've got a deep room, so that's fine because Andrell's going to come back, and we're going to have Burks, and he is going to light it up, and then another one, then second drive of the season, Farouk goes down, and you're like, it's okay, we're still pretty deep, and then the moment that you hear about Burks, it kind of just got tough. So you got that. The young quarterbacks, and then you throw in just the curious situation around the play calling and everything. And so this is the beginning of the I guess what we got 5 game tryouts for Joe John Finley. And so real quick for the chat, everybody, what's going on? I see Stephen G, thanks for joining us. Jimmy, what's going on? Layla, hey, I'm with you, man. It's I think I said that jokingly in the middle of the Tennessee game of, hey, it's Thunder season. But yeah, man, it's just you got to think with Joe John Finley. I heard somebody mention the other day that, on his way out, Jeff Lebby said, if anybody's going to, take over for me, I think it should be Joe John Finley. So does some familiarity start happening there with, people working? And Boomer 129, I love you, man. Sorry, it's the ADHD does not allow me to keep one train of thought. So you're lucky that I'm not talking about, I don't know, different types of parchment paper or anything like that right now. But Man, I just sit here and think, man, it's going to be a game this week to where you hope to see a different level of strain and a different level of effort. You saw, Jacob Jordan come out this week, and it looked like he was playing a different game than everybody else was playing. This is a walk-on receiver, and all of a sudden it was the first thing on his first bit of offense where you saw somebody actually try to ball out since maybe Dion against Temple. And so, man, I guess let's just start it here. I mean, this is a road game. This is going to be it's a tough challenge regardless of, how we would be playing if we were full strength.
Yeah.
This is one to where I said, I think that going on the road to Ole Miss, it has its challenges. I think that, like, if you had a competent offense, this would be a heck of a game. So let's start out with the three things that you want to see on offense.
Coop, hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Okay. Lane Kiffin, high-powered offense. Jackson Dart is playing really good football, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Defensively, you could talk about Walter Nolan. You could talk about the Amos kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not so fast, my friend. We still have 4th and Golding over there. You gotta realize that, okay? It's going to be interesting because it's going to be a bit of a chess match early on between Kiffin and BV/Zach Alley, right? That's going to play itself out. That's a story to look at. But people, remember, JJF, for what it's worth, is facing Pete Golding, okay? Walter Nolan could be playing safety. He could be playing strong safety this week. He could be lining up as Ole Miss's nickelback. We don't know what type of exotic look he's going to do. And if they come out there and if Kiffin lets him come out there with some exotic looks or whatever the case may be, I'm like, hey, that is perfectly fine. I welcome that, because while y'all are experimenting with stuff, we're trying to get back to basics. And if we're just running basic offense, I like our chances, right? You don't have to do anything incredible right now. Let this offense sort itself out. This offense is facing not only the defense, but they're also playing themselves. To answer your question, 3 things that I want to see from this offense. Consistency. Consistency from where? The quarterback position. I want to see consistency, meaning I want to see Jackson move the ball, get first downs. I want to see Jackson throw the ball down the field. Those are a couple of things in itself with the quarterback play, right? I want to see Jackson Arnold not take coverage sacks. So I'm putting a lot of emphasis on what I would like our quarterback to do, right? Because at times there has been good offensive line play, but usually when the offensive line is off, it's noticeable. Quarterback's not doing what he needs. Quarterback is just on his back, right? But when there has been good offensive line play, quarterback play has been really inconsistent. So that is just the biggest thing right there. Quarterback play got to be consistent. Second thing, can we play complementary football? This really just goes for the whole team. Like, can we play complementary football? Meaning, can we give our defense breaks? Can we move the ball? Can we consistently get first downs? And can we go out there and not have bad drives to the point where back-to-back bad drives? Can we put some good drives together, right? Can we try to play ahead? Third thing that I would like to see, I would like to see somebody else at the run those stretch plays. I like Javonte Barnes. I think he's a very, very tough runner. I think that the vision is back. I think that you're seeing the skill set that we saw him flash as a freshman. I think you're seeing that come together. And I think next year, when we are hopefully running a competent offense, I think you may see his best ball in his tenure here. However, right now, he's still very hesitant as far as just hitting the hole and going, because there are some holes opening up, especially when we're running off the tackle opposed to running inside. So you would love to see that. I think Hicks is a guy who could do that. I think Hicks has great vision. I think Taylor Tatum has great vision as well. So I would like to see us just really get overall out of those 3 things. mean, plus those three things, I would just like to see us just run basic offense, get back to what we were kind of doing towards those first, 4 or 5 games in the season, especially that Auburn game where it felt like, okay, we're maybe not throwing the ball down the field, but we're running good plays for like Bauer, Sharp, guys like that who can get out in space and kind of move a little bit. It felt like we were doing those things. And then Texas and South Carolina is just everything went down the drain. So those 3 things plus just, overall just basic offense, just run basic offense, pick your best plays, install those, and let these guys run and just feel free and get loose, opposed to having to run these just very, very complicated and concise and always having to be precise type schemes. It just makes no sense right now with where we're at.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Is, the consistency, we keep on saying it, week after week after week, is what's the identity of this football team? Like, what's the thing? Is like, if you really need to just get there, like, the biggest thing that you can count on this offense is either a pre-snap penalty or a tackle for loss on first down. Like, that's been the identity of this offense. But I agree with what you're saying, because we've seen the competence out of the offensive line at times. We've seen wide receivers running open at times. And so what happens when a couple of these things kind of come together? So my start off is, I want to see on the offensive line, I want to see guys who are out there. And I don't care if you have a blown assignment, that's great. But I want to see a guy, I want to look at it and go, that guy's playing his ass off right now. Like, he is straining. He is lining up with the guy across from him, and he is just battling. And, it's going to be tough on the inside with Nolan in there. Whereas South Carolina has the defensive ends who are just, absolute stud pass rushers. Ole Miss has a very, very solid middle. And so I want to see us running out on the edge. But when we do hop in there and we do want to run, off tackle, I do. I agree. Somebody said in here, I want to see the old Oklahoma GT counterplay. I want to see that. Like, I want to see these guys when they are, one-on-one with somebody, that they are absolutely just taking it. And I don't care if you lose, but you played your ass off for the snap. That's fine. I just don't want to see it to where, like, you have an assignment and instead of getting the outside free rusher, you're trying to make your way to the linebacker and somebody's just walking into the backfield and trying to take the handoff. So those are the things I want to see, is the offensive line. And guess what? I know that some of the younger kids are going to be traveling with the team, and they're not traveling with the team unless there's a chance that they might play. So that's what I'm hoping to see too. Because if somebody can't get out there and strain, and somebody doesn't want to be out there and working their ass off, I want to see a young guy come in there, because again, at this point, yeah, we can play spoiler. We can do some of these things, but at this point, I think that we got to start thinking about 2025, and you got to get some guys, because you can't just, hope to God that we get some, some young guys time against Maine or, against Missouri or something like that. And you're going to have to get some young guys in the rotation now and just live with some of the failures, because some of these older guys, they're failing at a pretty high clip already. So someone on specifically, and I just want this person to forget the past 6 games, is Jacob Sexton. Jacob Sexton, I talked to his dad before the Tennessee game, and I just brought it up with him, and I was just like, man, I appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are being team first mentality. Jacob's moving in and out. And but I did ask. I said, well, at what point do you guys start thinking about like Jacob's future? And is that going to be something that you want to do? Just be like, hey, our future is at tackle. And he didn't really play up to it. He said, man, we're just going to continue to do what, the coaches ask us. So I want to see Jacob Sexton take that line and become the leader on that line and go out there and lead by example. And again, you're going to lose some battles. That's college football. That's offensive line, defensive line play. You're going to lose some battles. It's kind of like baseball. You're not going to hit 900. You're going to bat 300 and be considered success. I just want maybe somewhere around 600 ball from the offensive line. If you get beat on a good play, tip your hat, get back in there, do it again. Because I think that these guys can do a good job, but again, I want to see the strain. I want to see the guys get out there and just don't beat yourself, because when you're struggling and then you add in those penalties on top of it, that's hard to come back from.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Give me your thought.
No, it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard to come back from. And I mean, I think you sound just like all of us. You want to see the effort. I don't really judge the effort of the defense. I see guys out there, being at that Texas game, seeing Dominique Williams, how passionate he was.
Yeah.
I see some of the plays, some of the scrums that they're getting into, and man, it's just mainly because they care. You see that a lot of these players, they do care. They understand. They haven't, the biggest thing that I say coming into the season is that it's not necessarily the standard or whatever the case may be. That's BV talk. I think for fans, it's just, hey, there's a certain expectation of how we want to see this team develop, grow, and go out there and dominate, right? And it just hasn't necessarily been the case. But you've seen effort. You've seen good things at time from this team. However, it's just been very, very inconsistent, and complimentary football has evaded us ever since to be honest with you, the Tennessee game, midway through the Tennessee game, to be honest with you, like that's where we stopped playing complimentary football at some point. But just kind of have to get back to that. But no, I'm excited about this matchup against Ole Miss. I think it's a good matchup, and I think it's a matchup that, even with the odds against us, it's one where they very well could go out there and cover and beat us by 18 or however, whatever the spread is now. But at the same time, it's a game where we could make this a game going into the third or fourth quarter. I still feel like, hey, our defense is really good. And let's be real. It's not like, obviously their offense right now is in a better place than where we are, but it's not like Kentucky is just setting records and beating people by 40 and 30 and stuff like that. And they went in there and were able to keep that game close until it wasn't, right? So, the fact of the matter is that you have all the tools to go in there and do the unthinkable, but you got to go and do that. And that's something that has just kind of evaded us these last couple of weeks. But one thing that I definitely want to see from this team, and I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the offensive side of the ball, but don't take the joy away, right?
Yeah.
Don't go out there like you did against South Carolina and basically make it where it's just the odds. It's just, odds are stacked against you. There's no way that you're coming back, right? Like, don't go out there and kill yourself, hurt yourself, and limit yourself in the same way that you did out there against South Carolina. We could point fingers, we could do all the rest of that stuff. However, at the end of the day, don't go do that, because you never gave yourself a chance to actually play that game. You gave up 15 points to them legitimately defensively, right?
Yeah.
And you could probably take that touchdown away that they scored early on simply because of where they returned it to off of that. What was it? It was the first interception, right? So, those are things that we got to think about, right? You just never gave yourself a chance in that game. So, another opportunity. I am eager is not the word. I am anxious about what this JJF era is going to look like. Especially if we are going to revert back to the RPO. And the reason why I'm anxious about it is just mostly because I felt like Jackson came into the game last week, considering the circumstances, and I thought he looked mature out there. I thought it looked like, okay, it looks like he has done a little bit of self-reflecting and a little bit of work, maybe a lot of work in this time that he hasn't been starting, he hasn't played. However, still some tendencies that poke through, right, like a sore thumb. So that is the thing that I'm a little bit anxious about it as far as his decision making, right? Still not as decisive as I would like him to be. And then two, when he's reading it, is he just going to continuously pull it like he was in the first few games of the season, where literally there are touchdowns to be had if he just hands the ball off, right? So those are things that I'm a little bit anxious about. Not necessarily the talent, not necessarily just kind of what he's seeing out there. I think he's trying to do the right thing with the ball this time and hold on to it and be more secure with the football. But it's still some of those tendencies where you're just like, hey, we got to find a balance, Jackson. You can't run everything.
Yeah, and that's my next one was quick decisions, quick, good decisions. Because, I think heading into South Carolina for Hawkins, I was – my big thing was like, hey, listen, I don't care. Throw the ball deep. If it's a pick, that's great. Let's get the ball downfield so that you can get everybody off the line of scrimmage. And obviously the first throw was an interception. And I thought, oh, good God. Maybe not that, but it was a bad read, bad footwork, bad throw. So I think that, does Jackson, when he came in, it looked like quarterback play again. It looked better. It looked like he had an understanding. I had somebody tell me that the deep touchdown pass to Brennan Thompson actually was a called quarterback draw, and he changed the play and went deep. And so you hear these things where Jackson has changed plays and thrown touchdowns, and I think that's one of the things I want to see from him is, you have, this is the team that you have now. Like, this is who we are. And so if you're going to be that leader and care about it, not just like, is just a thing for you that you're doing is football, or is this part of who you are? Like, and I want to see that from him. And I want to see him really just get in there. I want to see him celebrating the small wins. I want to see him. Seriously, if somebody makes an absolute just boneheaded play, I want to see him get in someone's face and be like, guys, listen, this shit's got to stop. This is game 8. Like, this has got to stop. You can't just absolutely go out to block somebody, Mr. Sharp, and just whiff them, because what else? Why else are you on this team? So I want to see the quick, good decisions. Wide receivers. I like what Jacob Jordan did. And I know everybody watching Jacob Jordan is wondering, all right, was that just the end of the game? Nobody cared. They're playing back off, so they didn't give anything deep. I don't care. Jacob Jordan looked like he was out there running around with his hair on fire. He looked like Kip Lewis playing defense. Like, that's what I want to see from guys. And so I want to see him get more opportunities. I want to see Zon Kearney out there and with some more opportunities. I want to see the return of Petaway. Does the absence of the previous OC, does that give him another chance to get back out here and do some stuff? So I want to see the wide receivers, run the simple routes, run what you're going to do, and let's get out there and see this. Because when we saw Jacob Jordan, everybody got a little Drake Stoops feel to them. The tiny little shifty guy that's out there just finding open space. And it's worked before. It's worked at times with Bauer Sharp. It's worked at times, with Deion Burks earlier in the season, and Jacob Jordan obviously out there too, because this is, again, it's time for somebody who wants to go out there and wants to play. And I don't know if you remember, Chris, but remember in 2022, we saw a couple times where there was an absolute just hockey line shift, where just an absolute just new offense came on the field. And like, it literally, if we have guys who are out there and they're making the simple look absolutely ridiculously hard, then I think that's what we want to see. He's not going to, I don't think Jackson from the outside is going to have people, on his ass immediately, like he did the past couple, like he did this past week. And same thing with Hawkins. I think that he's going to have more time to, to sit back there, but also at the same time is right up the middle is where I think a lot of the pressure can come. And so it is, I don't like rolling guys out. We saw with Spencer Rattler a lot, where he just bailed out and rolled himself right, and he took half the field away from himself. Yeah, and that was with competent receivers. So I'm hoping that there is some side to side with this offensive scheme to where you are not giving them tendencies to call you out on, and using both sides.
So 2 things. First off, I think I can speak on I think I speak on behalf of most, if not all, people in this chat right now. Throw the damn ball down the field. That's how you break those tendencies, right? Actually, let's do some north and south stuff, people, please. Second off, a bonus thing that I want to see from the offense, right? Give me a heavy script in the first half that basically details and entails the fact that you are trying to help your young quarterback. Simple as that. Give me don't come out there trying to do it on the fly or whatever the case may be, and trying to put the onus on him to go out there and really take true command of this offense. I feel like I would rather that be something that goes along like with the flow of the game, right? I want to see a good script, like just scripting good plays to get him in a rhythm. I don't necessarily want to see little screens and stuff like that all the time, but if that's what it's going to take, then yeah. As far as rolling him out, not necessarily opposed to that. I think that kind of takes it away from, hey, we're going to do this RPO, this and that. You can still run RPO out of that, but I think you can roll him out, get him some good rhythm throws, different things like that, just to give them some different looks so you can get into kind of what the base or the core of what your offense is going to be, what you want to run. But I would love to see a really good script just to kind of help our young quarterback out on the road.
100%. And yeah, before I get to my next point here, Bowman, give me some love for Ashley. Ashley, what's up? A little shout out to Ashley. I thank you for checking in here tonight with us. And but if you can get past that front line on their defense, you can do some running on them. The linebackers aren't the greatest, and the defensive backs aren't the greatest. They don't have the greatest form. I think that there was a lot to be had against South Carolina, and that's where they make their bread and butter, is getting you off your spot, getting you panicky, and making bad decisions. Well, obviously, that's exactly what happened. So I think that, like, if you can have these, you guys, we don't need this offense to put up 35 points. We don't. I think if this offense, I mean, if we go down this road of how does OU win this game, I think that the offense has to do something they haven't done since Tulane. They got to go out and they got to give you at least 4 types of scoring drives. Now, you need maybe 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. I think that is something. Number one, it gives your defense a rest. Number 2, it gives your defense a chance to hope and to not try to be hero ball. I think that those are the things that need to happen. Because, like I said, I don't think that we're not in an era anymore to where we have to score 42 on offense to even have a shot at winning.
No,
there is you used the word multiple times earlier, is complementary football, and there is complementary football to be played, but also it's if you don't put your defense in a bad spot by them taking a long march, forcing a punt after 8 or 9 plays, and then turning around and giving the ball right back on a turnover or a 3 and out, of 90 seconds or anything like that. Like that, it doesn't matter if it was Jeff Lebby and Dylan Gabriel or any of the guys we have right now. It's the same situation. That's tough because the defense goes, we did our job. Now we got to do our job again. And you start getting that deal to where guys aren't playing scheme sound football on defense. They're trying to do their job and somebody else's job. Mm-hmm. I think that this defense has done a phenomenal job up to this point. Like, there are multiple times, and I've said this in the past shows, I think there's multiple times to where, like, as a fan base, we could be like, if they broke right here, I wouldn't blame them. Mm-hmm. Happened in the Tennessee game. It happened, for a couple of minutes during Auburn. It definitely in Texas. We were outside getting food. Man, I kid you not, I heard some cheering or whatever, and I was like, all right, it sounds like they kicked off. And I expected to walk back in and Texas to have at least 10 more points, but it was still 28-3. So I think that this is this is a game to where if your offense breathes something, whether it is just adrenaline, whether it is just absolute pure hopium, you don't have to find a mountain of success. You just have to find a small measure of a success and, keep it respectable. Make sure that going into this next week that you're like, we have things to build on.
Hey, one thing that you could do that can help you keep this game close is not turning it over, right? That would be something that's key, simply because in the games that have plagued us, right, where teams have scored a bunch of points, it wasn't necessarily because of anything their offenses were doing. Tennessee, 3 bad turnovers. Texas, 2 fumbles, back-to-back drives. Right?
Plays.
That game is what? 7-3, 14-3 for the longest, 21-3 for the longest. But it's 14-3 for the longest until you go crazy and fumble, right? Back to back. South Carolina, 3 straight drives, pick that's returned to the 15-yard line. Fumble, basically a forced fumble that turns into a strip sack, forced fumble,
big man CD,
touchdown. Then you get the pick 6 for a touchdown. I mean, let's just be real. Like you haven't given yourself a chance. And complementary football obviously is the offense scoring, defense getting 3 and outs, getting turnovers themselves. That's true complementary football. But at the very least, you could be Iowa, where you make it to the point where it's like, hey, middle of the third quarter is when all hell breaks loose, but you basically gave it all you could because offensively you're just really that inept, right? But that would be a start if you just don't turn the ball over, right? That's something that could help you. And I would feel like the offense is taking a step in the right direction if that's something that we can do. If that's something that we can accomplish, I feel like, okay, I feel like they're taking this more serious now because ball security, it looks like that's not necessarily going to be an issue. So that's something I definitely think we should keep our eye on because that will dictate how messy this is going to get. Because trust me, Kiffin is going to try to go for a couple of kill shots early and often.
Very much, very much. And was it? And I'm searching my memory here. We've played against Kiffin before, and he's came in and he did not have the Jimmies and Joes that he has now. Let's take it to the offensive side of the ball, because the offensive side of the ball is where I think that Ole Miss is going to. I'm not as scared of their offense as I am worried about the defense. If Trey Harris is limited or doesn't have the opportunity to go out there full speed, I think that is a massive blow to them, because I mean he is their all everything. 59 catches, 13 yards away from 1,000, 6 TDs. Their running game really hasn't had the opportunity to really get out there and do the best job. And Jackson Dart's one of those guys who just, I mean, he's kind of like Peyton Thorne. Peyton, he's at a higher level than Peyton Thorne, but the guy has the capability and the aptitude to make a mistake. And that has been it. He is a guy who will strain, who will get out there, and he will eventually make a mistake if you give him that opportunity to make a mistake, especially with their aptitude to go deep.
You know who Jackson Dart reminds me of? He's on a great day, he's a great value version. On another day, he's a poor man's version of Quinn Ewers. If you really put those two in a box, like if you put a blindfold on and you just say, okay, and then you open your eyes and you see the stats, no names, right? You kind of like, I mean, it's similar. It's a similar product of football, okay, from the quarterback position.
I see that.
Very talented guys. As much as I love to give, Quinn Ewers, all hype, no tape, Mullet Boy, all those different names that I have from him for him since his first days at Texas. Very talented guys, but they still leave a lot. There's a lot left to the imagination, like as far as just like how great they could be, right? Because these are two guys that you say, hey, your team is really good, but like at some point against Georgia or Bama or whatever good team that you guys are facing, you guys are gonna have to put them on your back and really elevate this team to go to that next level, right? And it's like every time that they get right there and they're knocking on the door to the point where they're screaming outside saying, "Let me in." It's like they're like, okay, well, I'll come back 2 weeks from now and I'll knock loud so everybody can hear me again. And it just doesn't happen, right? So, I mean, I think Jackson Dart does give you Jackson Dart is going to me. I think he's the truest X factor because it kind of starts with him. Like, is he going to be on? Is he going to eat this? Try to eat on the secondary. What is he going to try to do? Is he going to try to like force things or whatever the case may be? Because I think our secondary will hold up. I know there's been a couple of busts and different things like that, but I think they'll hold up. The thing I would be, right now, given where we're at, I know they want to do it a lot. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the 3-man front. I think that's really the only time that teams can run on us. I don't feel like Texas did anything that was amazing. I just felt like they just forced guys out of position, and plus they had more blockers. But like the 3-man front, that's when teams usually run the best on us, but it gives us an extra DB out there. But I mean, with Samuel, the way he's playing and all the rest of that stuff, I think you'll be fine. This is a game where hopefully Deshaun McCullough can be on the field an awful lot, and I think he will be, and I think he can be in a game like this. But defensively, I think we're going to be fine against them, regardless if they have Trey Harris or not. I think that'll be a chess match. I don't plan on us going in there and holding them to 15, 20 points, whatever the case may be. But I do see us causing a lot of problems, being very physical, being very tough, forcing a lot of 3 and outs, different things like that, to the point where they are on the sideline, iPads out, trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to do to be more consistent? So I think you could do that and stall enough for hopefully offensively you can figure something out. It would be amazing if we can go out there and put up 10 points first quarter on the first couple of drives, just to be able to give ourselves a chance to feel really good about where we're going. But yeah, no, defensively, I'll be honest with you, I think it's kind of a wash. I think that's one thing that you could say, like, hey, BV and Kiffin kind of just cancel themselves out. It really boils down to what are you getting from Pete Golding and JJF? That is the true battle. That is the true X factor in this game. And that's going to dictate who wins. Because, like I said, people, if he comes out there and don't get me wrong, Pete Golding has called some amazing games at Bama, Ole Miss, all the rest of that. But there's that one game where it's like, hey, what are we doing? Why are you putting Will Anderson as your will linebacker or your jackbacker or whatever, but you're having him be a spy, or you're having him basically play coverage the entire game? Like, what are we doing, man? Get after the ball, get after the guy, the quarterback. Like,
it would be like Grinch putting Perion Winfrey in coverage. It's just there's no explanation for it. But yeah, it's again, if I'm picking, I don't pick Oklahoma to win this game.
No, not necessarily.
Where I'm talking is you make one decent improvement and one solid improvement on the offensive side, and you get some opportunity. I think that we're going to see some new guys on the offensive line. Somebody just texted me a few minutes ago and said doesn't think Jake Taylor's traveling with the team. I think it's time for him to just literally sit out and hit the cryo until he is actually healthy. The guy's just laboring and he's unable to do anything. I do know that one of our young O tackles who was looking really, really good in the spring is traveling with the team, fully healthy. What that probably means is you're probably going to see Spencer Brown starting out at right tackle. So that's, unless you have Tarquin out there and Sexton at left tackle, I think Spencer Brown comes into play at some point, unfortunately for us. Man, yeah, if there is a lot wrong. There's a lot wrong with this team, but you see, I mean, you saw what happened with Purdue. Purdue couldn't score a damn point to save their life, and they fire Graham Harrell, who some people wanted to come work at Oklahoma, and the next week they went out and scored 49. And now they scored 0 the following week, but I'm just saying that, like, you're going to have a little bit of a boost of guys realizing that it's time for something to happen. And Zias Lou, that's who we're talking about. I think Isaiah Autry-Dent, my hope is that he gets some run because I think it's time to see him. This is a guy with a phenomenal pedigree. And so I just absolutely think, but man, I just want to see a couple of these things. And I think that, like I said earlier, is you don't have to go out and score 35. Like, if you can throw up 20 points on offense, that's how ridiculous this place is right now. That's, we are in a spot to where you're asking for your offense to put together 4 scoring drives unaided by the defense. But I also think this is, if you do make Jackson Dart more of instead of a playing within rhythm of the offense, if you give the opportunity for Jackson Dart to have to grind and really have to push, he's going to do you a favor. Yeah. And I fully believe in that. Now, I do say that, I don't know if the defense can continue to go out there and do the stuff that we've been doing every single week without any assistance from the offense. It will break at some point. It's inevitable. So is it this week? I mean, I just don't see that many people having the breakdowns, and you still have these guys who are playing for, their NFL future. And so they're going to continue to be out there. And this is a great player-led team, especially on that defensive side of the ball. So you get a couple of these things. And like I said, I think that's one of my biggest critiques on Seth Luttrell is it's like you see what this team is good at, what the team is, on the other side of the ball is good at, and you don't scheme around it. Mm-hmm. We can get into all the rumors and everything, but from what I understand is there are a lot of people that are happy with the change. Yeah. Vast majority. And so I hate that for a guy that was a Sooner, just like I hated when Josh Heupel, coached his last down. But at the same time, you got to do what's best. So you got a lot of guys looking for not only their own job, but their future with this program. And so can you see some extra strain? I don't think this is a team that's just going to absolutely give it up because, to be honest with you, brother, like, you got some guys traveling with the team that probably haven't seen playing time. And I think Jacob Jordan gives a lot of people a lot of reason to get really excited.
Yeah. One quick thing that I definitely think we don't have to spend time on it, but that does need to be said is this would be a game right here where you could potentially see Jackson Dart hurt you with his legs a bit too, and not necessarily getting out there and scoring touchdowns. I'm not saying he's going to look like Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick. Hell, not even Lenore Sword. However you say Sellers last week, but I think just picking up first downs and moving the chain, that's something that he does like to do. He does like to run with the ball, just try to pick up, as much yards as he can. If he sees a gap, he'll try to take off. So something definitely to be on the watch for since we're facing some, actual like mobile quarterbacks now. But I think we'll do a good job. We did a good job against the Tulane quarterback as well. Not saying that he's Jackson Dart, but I felt like, for the most part, you kept him contained. for for the majority of that game. So I think Allie and all of them will have a really really good game plan. And Mr. Kearney out there, Chuck Kearney, I'm not necessarily sipping Kool-Aid. I'm just kind of telling you how I feel. I think that we match up good with Ole Miss. I feel really good about our defense. Our defense does travel. Our defense has caused a lot of havoc for a lot of teams. My Texas fans out there, shout out to you guys, but some of you guys are a bit reluctant to admit, hey, that game was 7-3 for way too long. That game was 14-3 off of a dumbass fumble. If we make a maybe one more effort play and get there, game's still 7-3, right? So we've caused hell for a lot of people. We gave everybody basically the blueprint on how to beat Tennessee. Why Bama didn't do it, I don't know. But regardless, though, we've competed our asses off defensively, and we've kept this team in a lot of games that they shouldn't have been in for as long as they were, right? Especially with the offensive woes. So, like I said, I just call it how I see it, man. Like I still think that we could go out there and potentially do something better. Not necessarily the biggest fan of Joe John, not at all, and that's what makes me the most anxious. To where I would say, if I am sipping Kool-Aid, I would say, well, that Kool-Aid tastes like crack because there's no sugar in it, right? Because JJF put his foot in there, and he's just like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing either. So, that's going to be a really, really, really interesting point.
But I do say this: Joe John Finley was essentially retained because he is a de facto translator. And if Joe John Finley's probably not here next year. I would take that bet with whatever money that you want me to put up. Mm-hmm. But he's the only person on that offensive staff that has actually been in the implementation, the day-to-day of everything. I think it's the reason why he was in the booth to find out what the hell was going on with Seth last week. And so, if you turned over everything to Emma Jones, to Kevin Johns, to DeMartin, none of those guys have done anything at all as far as play calling around this offense. And you cannot absolutely just flip the offense to a new offense midseason. It just does not work. So this game is what it is. Like I said, I've seen some of the scores where people are picking out, 24-10, 34-10 or whatever like that. Again, I don't like if we go out, we lose this game 28-10. We cover the spread, and that's kind of where we're at this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get one accidental good play on offense, thank God for, to be honest with you, thank God for two different plays right now, Chris, because where would we be without the muff punt against Houston and that breakaway touchdown by Hawkins against Auburn? Like, where would we be without those things? Yeah. Because we could be in a lot worse situation than we are right now. But let's talk a couple of other games before we wrap it up, guys. Everybody, thanks for hopping in here. Again, this is not the season that any of us wanted to see. This is not none of us are happy about this. We're not excited about this. We're ready for Sooner softball. Hell, I think that I even heard somebody say, at least the, men's basketball team starts sometime soon. So, if you're looking forward to that, then that this has been a tough season. I was there the season where Rhett Bomar started. Our offense was dog shit. We lost to TCU before they even were a Big 12 team. And walking around the stadium and walking around campus afterwards, and TCU fans literally didn't know what to say. They were like, I don't know how to even hold my hands. But yeah. So let's get into a couple of these games. Chris, one that is getting a lot of hoopla, and I'm wondering why at this point, is Nebraska, Ohio State. Do you think that Nebraska, after getting just absolute ran last week, do you think that they can, make this a game against Ohio State, or do you think this one's just going to be rinse, wash, repeat from last week?
I don't really know what to expect, because you can say that we've seen really, really good football from Nebraska. We've seen some bad football from Nebraska as well. On the loss to Illinois still kind of eludes me, because there was a lot of opportunities out there. They just didn't take advantage of those. Freshman quarterback looked like a freshman in spots in that game. Indiana road game, they got the juice right now. It's hard whenever you're facing a team like that. That kind of reminds me of 22 season when we went down there to TCU. Like, you ain't got no business losing to them, but they just got the juice. Whatever is going on over there, it's going, and it's really good, right? Ohio State should be the same way. Man, I tell you, to me, I mean, like, what is the biggest difference between Will Howard and Kyle McCord from last year? I mean, they come out and they start very sluggish, like, and they've been doing that for the last couple of years. They start very sluggish, and so I don't want to see them get off to a slow start. I just don't know. Where's that game being played at?
It's in Ohio State.
It's at Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, Ohio State will win. I don't think it'll be a close game for that long, but I do see it being a very competitive game, probably going into the last few minutes of the second half, early. I would say second quarter. Excuse me, early second half. I see the Ohio State probably kind of separating themselves, but I would say I think Raiola. I think he could cause some problems for that defense. I think he could probably put some points up, move the ball, just to make them, kind of live life on the edge a little bit. But I don't know, man. Will Howard, he just scares the hell out of me, man. He does. Will Howard, he just, yeah.
Kyle McCord has 5 interceptions tonight against Pittsburgh. Two pick sixes that I know of.
Damn.
Yeah. This is the first. I mean, Syracuse is 5-1 coming into this game, and this was on our Discord picks. And I thought that Pittsburgh had the aptitude to play any kind of defense, and I didn't think Syracuse could. Oh, he has 3 pick sixes. Holy hell! Let's sign him up. Maybe is he going to be in the portal this year? Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. It's Will Howard. Like, Will Howard had that year, the K-State year 2 years ago, to where he just was out of his mind, and I don't know what happens. I don't understand how that can happen to a quarterback. I don't know if you just, are good at what you do, and until someone can find the film and take it away. But, man, Will Howard, is this his 5th year playing? Because how he ended that Oregon game might have been. It reminded me of. What's our boy who tried to dribble out the clock while they were tied? He was with LeBron. Was it
J.R. Smith?
J.R. Smith. It's what it kind of, you have no time on the clock. Dude slides in the middle of the field at zeros, and you're like, what's going on here? So, yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know. Nebraska, it got a lot of look. We knew that this was probably part of the season where they were going to take the tail dive, but let's move on. Man, service academies are doing them some good football right now, and you've got Notre Dame going up to Navy. I remember a game with OU and Army, and that's probably the last game that I've never wanted to commit murder before, but I was going to need your services for Mike Stoops' interaction after that game. But Notre Dame is giving 14 to Navy. How do you see this one playing out?
Navy. Excuse me. Notre Dame is playing really good football right now. I think Notre Dame will go out there and handle business. I know they lost to NIU people, but it's going to be a very precise game. It's going to be a lot of triple option early on. If they can, they will. You just have to do what you normally do, right? Which is go out there and put them in obvious pass plays, right? Make it to where, okay, well, it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. If you want to run a triple option on that is perfectly fine with us. But if you want to sit back and pass, guess what? We'll be ready for that too. And we feel like we got better guys than you, right? Don't go out there with Baylor's game plan against Navy or Air Force a couple of years ago in that bowl game. Gap sound, all the rest of those things. I think Marcus Freeman will have his guys ready. the service academies, I'm more than happy for them. I think this is great. I think it kind of pissed me off the other day. Maybe it's just because Kevin Wilson is the guy down there, but it pissed me off that what was it, Army that came down here and beat Tulsa 49-7? Like,
yeah,
come on. Like, come on. Like 21-7, stuff like that, that's perfectly fine. Like, come on, man. Like, I know this is not necessarily your grandpa or your grandma's service academies that are, because they are throwing the ball. Like, let's be real, people. They are throwing the ball, but they're still not coming out there in traditional spread formations per se every single play or consistently. It's just one of those things where if they catch you and they're going to make you love that triple option, and you're going to be guessing a lot if you haven't been watching film and paying attention. So that'll be interesting. But I got a Notre Dame definitely covering that spread.
All right, 3 more here, and if you want to have a top 25 matchup that just seems like it should be called the Sadness Bowl, Missouri, Alabama. You got Brady Cook is most likely not playing. They're starting running back, not going to be playing. Number 21 versus number 15. I know we have nowhere to talk with the rankings conversation, but Missouri doesn't have a chance in this game, do they?
I would say no. Drew Pine is capable, but I don't think that he is a good enough quarterback to go out there and do what you need to do. He's not a runner like the Pavia kid from Vandy. I think he'll try to push the ball down the field. I mean, he should. You got Luther Burden. Theo Weiss is a good possession receiver, but they start sluggish as well. Like they are kind of slow out of the gate. I think people are starting to see, like with Missouri, it was lightning in a bottle, right? It's kind of lightning in a bottle is what you're saying up there. Caden Green, if you want to come back, anyways, I don't see it. I think you're going against a Bama team. A lot of people they're pissed off, a pissed off Bama team. And I think they smell blood. Is that game in Missouri?
Alabama.
At Bama. Yeah, no, I give me Bama. Give me Bama big. I think Bama gets back to being Bama. I think they probably win by 2 touchdowns at the very least.
Yeah, it's I just don't see it. I mean, I think even Brady Cook was playing. This might be it. Some of the culture stuff that, I think a lot of us before the season were talking about, the Nick Saban effect going away. How's that going to affect them? You're hearing stuff about guys not going to meetings, people showing up too late, their shirts untucked, and just the discipline factor just absolutely just not being there anymore. And listen, it doesn't matter who that next coach was. Unless you came in there as an absolute hard ass, you couldn't match the Saban intensity, and nobody can match the pedigree and the reputation. And so you were going to see people test the leadership there. So, I think that this is a good game for them to get healthy on. And if you're Drew Pine, you just want to keep yourself out of, just don't make the mistakes. That's it, because it could start steamrolling on you pretty quick. And that defense from Missouri, they'll have some issues, especially when you're lining up. That defensive line has been very suspect all year long. And Milroe looks like he's a little dinged up too, though. So I'm wondering if you don't have a little game to where you see what kind of records Ryan Williams can break, because he's 17. Did you know that?
Boy's not human.
All right, let's talk Texas and Vanderbilt. I know that everybody in here, minus our boy Bevo here, is really hoping for Vanderbilt to pull it out. I don't see Vanderbilt doing this. I don't think that they can really sneak up on them anymore. I think after the game with Georgia, it's going to really, really, hone in. I think Texas was in a tough spot regardless. No matter how dog shit OU's offense was, it still was the Red River rivalry. And then Georgia, a lot of their, whole season was on those 2 games right there. You come out of it 1-1, and now you head up to the construction site up there in Nashville, And I expect to see a lot of Texas faithful up there with them. Texas 18.5-point favorite. I don't see Vandy being able to get this one done. What about you?
I think you attack the edges and attack the outside. I mean, I think this is a game where you could see Sark do a bunch of reverses. I think you could see him do some stuff like that and get his guys out there in space. I don't think that you have to go out there with some elaborate game plan or whatnot. They're going to want to come and Vandy wants to try to play physical, which is great. Here is what Vandy could do: use the same game plan that you use against Bama against Texas. Because trust me, if you can pound the ball, if you can slow the game down and make it possession battles, true possession battles. I won't say that Sark has gotten desperate this year. There hasn't been a game that he has. Some people can point to the Arch Manning sub. I would say I think he's trying to correct some of the mistakes he made in the past as far as waiting too long to do something about when they were bleeding, because once he gets done with his script, the biggest thing that you could do, or the best thing you can do against Texas, is make it a 4-quarter game. You get into that fourth quarter, that means that Sark has ran out of plays on his script, and now he is just trying to claw his way to victory. And so you get me to the last 5 minutes of the game, I think you got a really good chance. But the reason why I say you use that same game plan that you use against Bama is because Texas and Bama are similar in the sense that if you get them down, or you get them get their backs against the wall offensively, a lot of the plays that they call will be kill shots. A lot of their kill shots, a lot of their cash plays, where they're trying to win not only that drive, but they're trying to win the momentum battle and trying to get ahead as well. And so if you have a team that's doing that and they're not successful, that's breaking spirits, and that's causing a lot of confusion on one side, on one sideline, and the other one is just like is juiced and jacked. So I think you kind of have to go out there with that same game plan. Try to slow the game down. Do not try to get into a shootout with Texas. Not saying that they can't, but do not try to go out there and get in a shootout with Kansas. I think you just you're not going to be able to show them the same looks and do a lot of the same things that Georgia was able to do. But I think if you play assignment sound ball, then yeah, you could have a chance. But I think Texas goes in there and wins this game by probably 13 plus.
Think so also. All right, before we get to the last one, did you see that a Florida State fan has bit the bullet, or in better terminology, a guy actually ate dog crap out of a red Solo cup with a white plastic spoon in order to kill the demons? So some random guy did.
I thought he admitted that it was actually chocolate.
Oh, did he? Well,
he came out and made like an apology or something. It was all weird from the get-go. I'm just like, come on, man.
Well, it looks like it like when they try to bring Serrano in Major League, the bucket of fried chicken instead of the live chicken. He's doing whatever he can. So, no, I don't think Florida State's got a chance. That could be an absolute massacre that just gets out of control.
Who are they playing?
They are playing in Miami.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's I think Florida State loses by how many they lose by to they got their asses kicked by SMU.
Yeah, let's see here. SMU 42-16.
Okay, Miami 56-16.
All right, gotcha. All right, so the last one before we wrap it up here. Again, everybody, thanks for hopping in here. Once again, we understand this is not the best of times. There was the best of times, it was the worst of times. But at the same time, we continue to be back behind this team because by God, if we're not going to, who else is? But LSU A
Saturday.
Yeah, I got a soccer tournament, and our gap is right when the game's on, so I'm still happy about that. But LSU A&M, do we know anything about these two teams as far as like the level of elite play? Are these just two good teams? Is this just like what we felt, with the LSU, USC or A&M Notre Dame game early in the year? Do we feel like we know a lot?
These are two good teams. LSU has kind of, you could say LSU's kind of lucked their way into it. I think if you look at Texas A&M, they've just been look. These are two teams that have taken advantage of their SEC schedules, right? They haven't necessarily gotten to the core or the gauntlet of those, and I'm not necessarily sure that A&M has had a gauntlet, even though they struggled against Mississippi State, who was able to move the ball on just about everybody right now. But what I would say is I don't necessarily know enough about both teams simply because I've watched both teams play. I feel like they're both tough teams at times to move the ball on, but I kind of favor Texas A&M in this matchup simply because I think they play better defense at a more consistent chip than LSU at this point. I think Caden Durham has been a bright spot for them and has given that offense some life and reliability. But that's the thing. Like I said to start the year, I think Elko. I don't necessarily know if he's going to make the playoffs still or if he's going to do this. Their trajectory says they are where they're at right now. They have one of the better paths to make the playoffs. But I did say, hey, he's going to make it extremely, extremely hard for teams to come into Texas A&M with a 12th man and move the ball like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. This has been one of the it's one of the weirdest like developing rivalries out of just nowhere, in my opinion. But it should be an interesting game. But I would say is the game's at Texas A&M, right?
Yeah, it's College Station. Yeah,
I'm gonna go Texas A&M by a touchdown. I think that they are able to make Nussmeier maybe turn the ball over one or two times.
Yeah, I see this game going to. I just think that there's more playmaking capability on LSU's offense. I think that Lacey and the rest of the receivers, Caden Durham gets going. You don't think you have to. I don't think you have to do anything spectacular. You just have to keep the pressure on. If I'm A&M, I think that I'm pumping Moss the ball 30 times. I want to see that guy just run, get that offensive line moving. That's going to be one of those games to where this thing could end up being like a 45-35 type of a game where it's just nobody can stop anybody and everybody's knee-jerk reactions, or a 20-13 type of a game where it's everybody, you come down to, like you're saying here in the chat, it'll come down to turnovers and field possession. Who can change and flip the field? When you get a chance to punt, can you put it inside the 20 versus being undisciplined and putting the ball through the back of the end zone? You're going to see, I think penalties also is a big thing too, because when you get tight into that, I think that favors A&M on a tighter game, just because I think those guys have a little bit more defensive discipline. But I'll just, again, it's your primetime game on Saturday night, so I'm just hoping it's a great game because, you know what, it's good to watch some good football late in the evening, especially after a big long day and whatever we're going to be feeling like tomorrow or on Saturday. So good slate of games. And hey, man, guess what? We get to do this 5 more times, right? So again, we're looking for some give a damn. Like that's what we want to see from our team. And again, I'm hoping that gets taken on the road, and maybe it's better for them to go on the road and play after this past week.
As we sign off, I say this right here: 5 games people left in the season, maybe a bonus game coming. I believe you still will be bowl eligible. I have the faith. But enjoy it, people, because once the season is over with, hell, I'll be honest with you, 2 games before the end of the season, buckle up because it's going to be a hell of an off season. It's gonna be a hell of an off season. If you love OU content, come to Unfair Sports. Like basically like one of, if not the central location in my book for all of that. Obviously, holla at your boy, Horns Down Podcast, definitely. But for sure, people buckle up because this is going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy off season. For
Absolutely. Absolutely. The rumors, the discords, everything's going to be crazy. So if you made it this far and you have survived the rest of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. And again, please share, because sharing is caring. And sometimes we all need somewhere to kind of get together. I think that we are like within 5 or 10 subscribers from 17,000. So if you can, create a fake YouTube account, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But send it to your friend. Make them give us a like. But until next time, Chris, I appreciate you hopping on here with me. And yeah, if you go down in the description of the video, you will find a place to sign up for the Unfair Sports Discord, and you can hop in there and have some fun with us. So,
people.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you all. Horns down as always. We'll be checking in with you guys again here in a couple days on Sunday. Till then, peace.